It's 10:59 on Friday, the 5th day of July. You're logged on to WINNFM 98.9. We're broadcasting from the Sands Complex, downtown beautiful Bastia, in what I call the capital of St. Kitts. And Nevis is what I call my double slice of paradise. And there's lots going on within and without the Federation. I would like to say good morning to lots of folks out there. But before we get into the salutations and such, we're going to pause and send our thanks and gratitude to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow! Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
So we're back, and now it's hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, how do they do to all the folks out there in the various time zones. You're logged on for another episode, presentation of voices. My name is Socrates. I'll be presenting today, and we have lots of stuff going on in the Federation. We had last night the results of the Culturama Senior Calypso eliminations. And from 22 Calypsonians, they would have identified 14 who would have advanced to the finals in the top four. I think we have Astro placing with 454 points, and then he was followed by Empress Lyrics. She amassed some 452 points. Followed by this and that, and then Murray. I'm going to get the exact scores for you before the day is done. And then we have, of course, this is the month of Alzheimer's. It's been observed by the Alzheimer's community. There'll be a radio presentation and a dinner to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Alzheimer's community. Then we have the cooperatives. They've had a whole week of activities. It culminates tomorrow night, where all the various cooperatives come together, the fishers, the farmers, the beekeepers, the agro-processors, the taxi cooperatives come together and have a little, soiree to culminate the week of activities. There was church on Sunday past. There was the activities on the agro strip last Thursday, in coincided with the opening of the music festival. So lots of stuff going on in the Federation. Across the region, the many islands and territories that were affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl, they're in cleanup recovery mode. Assistance is being sent from various islands to assist in those situations. Many persons will have lost their entire property. Let me see if I got, yes. Their homes and their savings, etc. So there's a big appeal to our Caribbean nationals at home and across the world, those in the U.S., North America, Europe, etc., to send and assist where you can. Now, today I want to beg leave of the callers to give me a chance to go to a document. It's rather lengthy, it's 5 pages, and it deals with topic, and there's a question I want to ask at the end of it because there's mention in this document. The funny thing, the person who sent this to me, I don't have his contacts. I'm not sure if it was designed for me to read it and mention his name or not. So the author will remain anonymous until I get leave to mention their names, or perhaps they can come to the studio and we can have a dialogue. But there's a question that I've been asking of the legal minds for some time, and they've not been a lot of clarity on the issue. So I'm hoping that we can get a little debate going today. Saying good morning to Rosemary, to Mr. Val Monish, Dr. Leader, Sister Henry, all the folks out there who are always a part of this exercise. Not forgetting Miss Amber and family over there in Anguilla. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Let me get some AC going. Not quite getting a response, but at some point the technician should be able to address it. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me, because there were times when we had poor reception due to a downed antenna that folks were calling and saying that they couldn't hear the broadcast. So let me deal with this item. It's not dated, but it's headlined as an argument against selling citizenship. I repeat that. An argument against selling citizenship. And it continues. Currently, and perhaps correctly, the matter of the Citizenship by Investment, CIB program, essentially the selling of the citizenship of a federation occupies much of our collective concern and conversation. One cannot obtain a passport of St. Kitts and Nevis unless she is a citizen of the same. And almost all persons to whom we sell citizenship buy it in order to receive a passport. The general details of the raison d'etre or said concern and conversation are pretty well known, despite certain critical particulars being deliberately kept out of reach and knowledge of the public at large. A public that constitutes the very primary citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, it cannot be gainsaid that whatever the intricacies and controversies that have both emanate from the envelope the CBI exercise, it is the very existence ipso facto that give us rise to same. Citizenship, we know, bestows on those who have it the status of equal membership of a political community with the attendant attachments of nationality responsibility, obligations, rights, and privileges. Citizenship offers promise of benefit, the right, in fact, to support, protect the eligibility to run for and be elected to public office, except where constitutionally exempted. I want to go back to that part. Citizenship offers or promises the benefit, the fact, in fact, the right, in fact, to support, protection, eligibility to run for and be elected to public office, except where constitutionally exempted. Citizenship, whether by automatically or otherwise, is conferred by the state, and the passport is the most visible, tangible expression of identification as a citizen. Citizenship implies and verily ought to entail love of, for, and allegiance to the ensuing granting country. If citizenships or the passport is the highest order and greatest honor that the state can confer on a person, how can it be right, politically correct, or morally acceptable that a foreigner be accorded such just because he has money? Yeah, I want to ask the call to hold for a second while you go to this document, please. Couple this with the very real probability of public office and political leaders succumbing to corruption via the law, promise, and illicit enticement, and the receipt for problems looms large. So the recipe for problems looms large. Given the superordinate, superior, superlative value of citizenship, I submit that citizenship should not be sold. It is too precious an asset to an assigned piece to an asset to be assigned a price tag. That money cannot buy love for the allegiance to St. Kitts and Nevis. It is so sunlit, clear, and even the blind can see. Indeed, I contend that for citizenship to be sold to someone born or residing abroad with no familiar, historical, cultural, or spiritual link whatsoever to SKN signifies an immoral, corrupted view, understanding, and appreciation of citizenship. Selling citizenship then devalues citizenship, which it has well been proposed should not be saleable, tradable, marketable commodity. The practice contaminates civic norms and ideals of equality, equity, and inclusivity. Kind of fine print. Very importantly, it unfairly and wrongly discriminates against and, in fact, denies the privilege of buying it to the have-nots. Citizenship, like love, friendship, respect, etc., must not be sellable or buyable. Moreover, apart from or perhaps along the impossibility of property, comprehensively vetting all applicants in order to exclude illicit or bad actors, vagabonds, criminals, terrorists, sociopaths, inter alia, it is my considered opinion that conditions for the purchase are not sufficiently stringent, relatively low costs, inadequately due diligence, no requirement to live, experience, or know or history, culture, or customs. We are also fully aware that instances where projects are being are begun by those who bought citizenship but are abandoned, incomplete, or were after acquiring a portion of real estate. The latter is resold at a profit, of course. As soon as the opportunity arrives, as per the contractual arrangement, clearly this is indicative of the purchasing citizenship with purely a profit motive as the driving factor and end objective. I am of the view that all or small island states must not encourage or facilitate such avarice. Cincus Nevis must not be a conduit for filthy lucre. Additionally, the state of our citizenship and the accompanying passport provides a leeway for unsavory characters to infiltrate, threaten, terrorize third countries, and commit economic and other crimes, examples of which abound. This latter happening makes SKN appear ungrateful or unconcerned about the safety and security of said third countries and indifferent at best with the potency and kindness implicit and inherent in these countries according to Cincus Nevis citizens, visa waivers, and hassle-free travel to visit there too. I post that citizenship for small island developing states like St. Kitts must be sacrosanct, uniquely and maximally important right and privilege exclusively reserved, without price, for those who deserve or merit it by virtue of birth or descent, or by dint of circumscribed residency, including critically not having engaged in criminal behavior or having continuously and meaningfully contributed to socio-economic development over time. And the law must express and explicitly prescribe the selling of citizenship as it extends as an extant practice. Citizenship, the passport, is a common denominator, the great equalizer for amongst the citizens of state, irrespective of difference in conditions of birth, social status, and interest. This is why the selling of citizenship upsets the equilibrium and distorts the democratic nature of the citizenship. In countering my posture that the CBI be differentiated gradually by systematically, some will undoubtedly, this guy read a dictionary, he swallowed a dictionary. Some will undoubtedly point to the other 4 SIDS in the OECS and additional 7 countries worldwide which entertain the selling of citizenship. But they, of course, will conveniently fail to note that the vast majority of nation states, including most Caribbean territories, some 200 of them, do not subscribe to this practice. There is, of course, the real and present danger of SKN et al. Becoming dangerously, unwisely, and over-independent on the activity due to the false ease of income. Due diligence, strictures lowered price, reduce and neglect of other viable economic platforms serves in the final analysis to cheapen our citizenship. I did say it was long, got a couple more pages to go. For those who query some genuinely, with what do we replace selling citizenship as a major income earner? I ask, what did we do before? What do the many other do, including countries in similar or different size with higher or lower GDP, HDP, HDI, PCI, etc.? What of agriculture, light industry, manufacturing, including cannabis, sports and cultural tourism, offshore banking, non-CBI investment, etc., as viable options that beckon. My angst reselling past citizenship and by opposition thereto are buttressed, justified, if you wish, by the persistent non-answer to the following repeatedly posed legitimate questions, a state of affairs that flummoxes. Why has there never been any publication, honest divulging of information with the number of passports sold, issued since 1984? Why is there no information yearly or otherwise since the inception we have income directly linked to such sales? Why no information disaggregation of total revenues and no detail as to where the differences between monies generated and monies actually received goes or has gone? Why no information at all as to the nationalities of groups to whom our citizenship is sold? Why no honest official list of where, how monies received have been spent? Is it that we, the first citizens of the Federation, are not deserving of access to such information? Is it that the information is a highly classified state secret? Given the sorry state of many of our roads, institutions, public buildings, water and power generating apparatus, agriculture, sports facilities, schools, hospitals, economy generally, workers, people at large, et al., the concerns, the conversation, the questions are irrefutably legitimate. For example, we are recently presented with some statistics that say between 08 and May this year, and approximately 63,000 passports have been sold. Of course, it is suspect, adding insult and unacceptable, not only that no information with the 22 years between 1984 and 2008 is presented, but also that there is no means provided by which to confirm the accuracy of the stats given. The stats given. But even if those figures presented are correct, and many of us doubt their veracity, and assuming conservatively an average selling price of $175,000 per citizenship, those 15 and a half years identified would have generated close to $300 billion Eastern Caribbean currency. How much of that humongous sum actually reached the coffers of the state's treasury? Why do we not have any true idea? True idea. You have one last page. And forgive me, the print is a bit fine, so. How is it that so rainy day fund reserves have been set up? Ditto, health, medical, and scholarships, etc. I humbly invite anyone to point us, the first citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, to concrete evidence as to how, where such monies have been spent. And bear in mind, we are referring to monies derived only from selling of the passport and not including income generated from the other economic pursuits. Clearly, we have a problem in accountability, transparency, trust, and rectitude. And no one disputes the proposition that the problem is compounded and magnified when one dissects and diagnoses the very serious implications and ramifications of such large numbers of persons, at least 63,000, with the real complete figure probably approximating 100,000 holding sold passports of a cherished country, which has just over 50,000 of us citizens resident here. The current saga involving Philippe Martinez and his MSR suits are pregnant with the potential to inflict a mortal yet perhaps paradoxical saving blow to the practice of selling our passports. I'll read it again. The current saga involves Philippe Martinez and his MSR suits is pregnant with the potential to inflict a mortal yet perhaps paradoxical saving blow to the practice of selling our passports. In as much as we hope for the best outcome scenario, we must prepare for the worst. In the circumstances, which must be construed as a teachable moment with significant lessons to learn therefrom, I conclude that it is wisest, best, and safest that SKN deliberately, consciously, and conscientiously begin with immediately to wean ourselves off this program. I say let us do away with the selling of our passports. As a matter of course, I urge that we allow ourselves 5 years within which to extricate ourselves gradually but completely from this practice. If the current court cases do not expedite its demise far more abruptly and painfully before then. So I opine. So I went through a rather lengthy discourse written by a gentleman, and he labeled this an argument against selling of the passport. There was a caller too that was trying to get him before, and I apologize for having to ask that caller to wait until this was presented. One of the key questions that came after this, though, is, and this document seems to answer it, more or less saying that these holders of the passports have the right to vote. I would like for some legal mind to call in and inform us whether that is the case or not. Because as the author pointed out, we're about 50,000 nationals residents. And if you were to say 63,000 passports sold or go to 100, look at that demographic if they have the right to vote in our elections, hold offices, etc. It was rather lengthy. It's now 27 minutes past 11 o'clock, and we do need to pause to give credit to our sponsors once again. When we return, we'll open the lines and see if we get engaged in this conversation.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow! Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. He are a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Chip, chip, chip. We wanna get chip, chip, chip.
Give your little smartie the perfect smart start for their future with CHIP, the child investment plan from TDC Financial Services. Invest in your child's next step, and we know what's next is always changing.
Chip, chip, chip. We wanna get chip, chip, chip.
CHIP is a long-term plan with no minimum deposit, no monthly commitment, and you're guaranteed a special high interest rate per annum.
I want chip. I want chip too.
Visit TDC Financial Services today and get CHIP, the child investment plan, providing the best head start for every child.
Chip, chip, chip. We wanna get chip, chip, chip.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Okay, we're back with the program, and I read an article that spoke about a person's argument against selling of passports. And one of the things that jumped out is that these folks who are the holders of a passport may very easily have the right to vote in our elections. If you look at the size of our local voting demographic, if we have about 50,000 persons between St. Kitts and Nevis, I would say 20% of them are eligible to vote. If we have, just say basically 63,000 non-nationals, if I can call them that now, that are passport holders, and they have the right to vote in our election, that changes the landscape dramatically. I've been asking the question because it's something that concerns me. The documents speak about the rights of the holders to hold office, and this is a serious concern. So we are still in the position of not knowing a whole lot about the sale of the passports, never mind the numbers and what's the figures that has been bandied about. But in terms of the rights of the passport holders, we're not being xenophobic, but we have the whole issue and discussion of when, during our election cycle, the question is whether or not the our nationals living abroad can come home and vote. It's been debated in other territories. In Antigua, they did implement a residency requirement. You had to be there on the ground for 3 months before you were able to take part in the elections. And we said, well, both parties do it. The question is it right or not? Because on the flip side of that, we know that Commonwealth citizens, because even though we claim to be an independent nation, we are a member of the British Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth countries, of which we are member states, like you talk about India, Nigeria. Now we have a large Indian and Nigerian school population here. We also have lots of Indian merchants living here, and they do take part in our elections. And this is frowned upon, and we told we can go to India and vote. Yes, you have the right because you are also a Commonwealth citizen. So while those debates are ongoing and people have issues with it, serious issues with it, we're hearing now, or we're learning that, or maybe it's not too clear as to whether or not the persons who will have obtained passports of St. Kitts and Nevis, if they have the right to vote. I would love for someone to call and inform, explain to us whether or not. Mr. McMahon, what are your thoughts on this? If this is the case that folks from Timbuktu or wherever, once they are a holder of a passport, can come and vote in our election. Take that against the backdrop of the man from Sandy Point living in New York. He wants to come home and vote for a party that you don't like, and you frown upon that, and we have that debate going back and forth. You can't stop a man from voting because it's his right. We have those from the Dominican community who claim, through lineage, that they have the right to live and vote here. People fall on that. Fine. Okay, let's take a call. Go, they call you live on Voices. Go, they call you live on Voices.
Good morning, King Socrates.
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you doing?
Very touching and interesting program.
Appreciate that.
I think you're bowling the ball down the right line.
Questions to be answered.
Socrates?
Sir.
I believe that we can't get answers around these things because politicians still playing with us. And boom, boom, ganga community, because they mean with it. They mean it what they're doing. We want to see the Prime Minister them debate and let me ask them questions concerning these matters. Imagine, Socrates. People just walking in Sinkits, walking. Ain't nothing with national security. Ain't nothing with the Labor Department. Inland Revenue. You understand? Just walking. And nothing has been done. And when you check due diligence, being the country don't work so. But you work for here. Politicians still playing it off. And boom, boom, gonna come in it. For and son. And set a new part. It's terrible.
Who's Boom Boom?
Who's Boom Boom?
Mm-hmm.
My Boom Boom is a man of nails. He don't knock me jump. Boom, 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 boom.
My first laugh of the day. Yes.
Is all around the country.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to know them just straight, Can't feel down there no more. People wiser than that now. The Blessed Hero gone no more. The Liberal Hero gone. The Kennedy Simmons gone. Timothy Douglas gone. This is a new hero ushering in. And we're watching the Jewish, we're watching the Muslim boy with all the eyes, Up to now, he cannot come and telling us nothing about these arrangements with National Bank money, with the Christian the playing game with people. Well, I never heard Socrates is jammed down and I born here, and I will talk here. Have a good day, my brother.
Definitely, and thank you for being the first caller, and thank you for your contribution. These are matters that sometimes brushed aside until it comes up and bites us in the, whatever. But these are questions that should be answered out of respect for the citizenry. Too many years, too many different administrations have played the same game. When they're out of office, they have all the answers. When they get in, they can't provide the answers, and vice versa. But out of respect for the voters, you need to answer the public. We go back to the phone lines. Go to call your live on Voices.
Good morning, the King.
Welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Here the man jam down, man. Good bowler.
Open and bat.
Good bowler. Eh?
Open and bat.
Yeah, man. Good bowler. Let me tell you something, the King. This passport selling business, he ain't gonna stop. You know why? All of them countries cutting one another throat. Even if all of them come together and they decide, well, okay, all citizenship passports will be at this level, one of them, they're going to be a Judas. He going to cut underneath the other's throat while he's smiling and grinning with them and giving them the impression that he following the rules and regulation. He ain't going to work so. And remember when we had statehood? Great Trinity of Islands. You remember that, right?
I used to sing it in class at morning times.
Okay. And do you know, if you know, do you remember that a citizen born in one of these three islands was living and working in St. Kitts for Hasford from Anguilla, and he was deported out of St. Kitts back to Anguilla?
Was that before or after 6 or 7?
After 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah. He deported from here and he's Great Trinity Island. So if they could do that, what they wouldn't do with people who ain't born in the Trinity. And as long as an individual, this is my view, as long as a person is a citizen of a country, they should be able to vote. But it depends on what they're able to vote for. And something else, let me touch off here on the health while I'm here. You have too many people in this country of St. Kitts. They're taking jobs to be home care attendants.
Provider health providers?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And they're scanning the people them who they're supposed to look after. They're not working for the money. And I think if they're working for the money, don't take the money, give up the job. You either work fairly and take the money, or if you ain't working fairly, give up the job. A lot of them scanning the people them.
How do they qualify with the training?
I don't know about how they qualify. It come like the color your clothes you wear, you get it. The color upper top you wear, you get the job. And that should not be. These people who came before us, they do their contribution to the country, and they need to be looked after. Do not wait until they're physically immobile, and then you say, okay, I want the job to look after that, he or she, and they're looking after them. The last thing I'm going to say here now, we see how the seawater mess up Irish Tongue Bay Road with sand.
Yep.
Well, some years ago, Dumpling talk about it, me talk about it, and a couple other people talk about it. The highest part of the round Fort Lands overlooking the sea. There is a big hole around there. And I know for sure with the pressure and how it turned the seawater that we had, the seawater went up under the whole year.
You're talking about around the Fort Point, when around by Fort Thomas. Okay.
Right there. Just by where a man named Mr. Gillanders used to live.
Okay, yeah.
And the man in charge, Conway, the man who don't got no respect for Parliament and nobody in there, he spoke about it. He heard us talk about it, and he spoke about it, said he going to look after it. Look after it. They're looking after what kind of plane coming in to go away. And we'll see taxpayers, man, every minute they jump and gone. Remember they kill the PAP money when the needy was depending on monthly. But around the corner, they take a big bomb increase in salary. And as you wink, they fly gone out of the country. That is all they're doing with our money. Anyway, the king, you're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. But you made a remark about once you're a passport holder, you can vote, but it depends on what you're voting on. All the issues that are in the manifestos during the election, they apply to all of us. I have a problem with that. But I need it clarified. If a passport holder can automatically vote in our elections, look at how many we number and how much the number. They can change an entire demographic.
That's how that situation deal. That they need honest legal minds to make a constitution to solve that. Honest legal mind, not these hypocrites and what you call them here?
I don't know. It's just that we are too much in the dark on this matter, and we need clarification on it.
And again, remember Dr. Judem campaign and said that they're going to be a government of good governance, integrity, transparency. Where are those things that he said? None of them exist. None.
Well, the former administration, previous one, did also promise a good governance agenda, and they too were accused of not living up to the promise of the what they made to the public. So now this one is all being accused of the same also.
Well, you see, this is it. If I gonna accuse you of not singing your calypso them with a sweet melody, I supposed to come better than you. I supposed to come and sit down in the same chair where you be, and I don't accuse you. But they don't care.
What it says that they're all playing games with people.
Yes, long pocket and do another place, telling lies and make the lie them sound sweet. That even if you ain't hearing them, you like it.
Okay. Yes. So your boss. Okay. Thank you very much, Culture. Yes. You did bring something to the debate this morning, and that refers to the.
Look.
Are you still there? Go ahead.
Yeah, let me cut you. Sorry to cut you. You know what happened around here in St. Kitts? Only in St. Christopher. Would happen and go under the rug, and nobody seemed to peep under it to take it out. Because what? What happening around here is like when you go to a function and you mix your drink them up. Next thing you're going to, so you're going New York, New Orleans, New Hampshire, New Mexico, all in you them with Wamit. Anyway, thank you, King.
You have yourself a nice one. Okay. I wanted to lend emphasis to the point you made about what's happening at the Fort Point. In terms of that area being compromised, if we have a call, that area is suspected, maybe verify that it's compromised, so vehicular traffic that would go around there now, they're a bit worried about that other area. What about we recommend that until it's totally dealt with, addressed, that they put the proper signage in the road going around there that you shouldn't drive around there. We know for all the many years there's been some undermining, etc., but I would suggest that you don't think there. Caller, your live on voices.
Yes, hello.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Socrates. Greetings once more in Jesus' name. The only Savior sinners, His elect chosen sinners from the sins and from hell, the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, what I will call this test, Socrates, over the years,
yes,
I haven't said it so much, but I've said it on Win FM, and I think I've done some more than one over the years, that where this passport thing is concerned, selling passports, the CBI program, that is the name, right?
That's correct.
Yes. I have always been in disagreement with it, and I think it should be something that should never have existed in the first place. I have spoken out against it, and my disagreement with the whole program. But over the years, I think I've been hearing that once you have a passport, you could vote. I mean, I think I've even heard that Chinese and all have even voted.
I've seen them in the queue, but I don't know exactly what the status is, but I've seen the Orientals in the queues on polling days.
Yeah, because over the years, I've heard that once you have a passport, you are a citizen and you can vote. That's what I've always heard.
Yep.
And that's why I've always heard that Chinese and so have been voting because they have a citizen, because they have a passport, and because they have a passport, they are citizens.
Mm-hmm.
No. I also would like to say, when it comes to citizenship and passport and that sort of stuff, well, especially for citizenship, I always believe that what God told Israel for a person to become a citizen, I think that is still the best way to go and still applicable.
Which is what?
To our situation. Well, before you become a citizen of Israel, you must accept and adopt the belief of the scriptures. And that's the only way you could become a citizen. And in today's world, where we are under the new covenant, that would simply mean once you adopt the basic Christian beliefs, I think that should be done before a person become a citizen. And if they reject them later on, you lose the citizenship.
In the U.S., they pledge allegiance to the Constitution, to the flag and the Constitution, right?
Uh-huh.
There is no known religion that the U.S. is identified with is Christianity, but they have all the various fringe things. So you find there now legislation being put in place that Christianity, the Bible, must be taught in schools. So that's now up for debate. But when it comes to St. Kitts, it's based on being able to buy your citizenship.
Right.
What if a large portion of them are over the southeastern peninsula and they vote in bloc to put certain policies over there? What happens to us?
Mm-hmm. You just asked a question?
Yeah.
What the question was again?
What happens if a demographic of those passport holders who vote on policies that relates mainly to the southeastern peninsula? What do we do?
Well, we're based upon our present system, the majority win in it.
But they have the numbers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Based on our voting system, the majority wins.
We only about 50,000. They're over 63,000 minimum. Say 100,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is, but with all due respect, you're going to disagree with me, but that is why that's one of the reasons why one of the American founding fathers said democracy is always commit suicide in the end.
I don't disagree with you.
Democracy always commits suicide in the end.
I do not disagree with you.
When you got a majority win, then the majority most of the time vote for wrong things and destructive things, and they vote based upon the belly and that sort of stuff. So when you go and when you like the American founding father say, I think it's Andrew Jackson. I think so. I'm not too sure who. No, I forget who it was. I think it's Adams. I believe it might have been Adams. When he said, "Hey, democracy is a suicidal system. It kills its own self."
Did you follow the UK election and the results?
Well, Labour won by a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the fella name. I forgot the person who won.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Labour won on a landslide. But what I would also like to say, now concerning the poor people in in the infirmary that Manos has been saying that they don't have a fan. Well, I think that's a very sad situation, and I think that they should get fans or something to keep them cool.
Especially at this time of year, it's too hot.
Exactly, because like it has been said, you know, we who are strong and able, and we can go about to and fro. You know, it's still very hard for us. It's very hard for us. You know, but we who could go on to and fro, we could probably go in a building, get some aircon and that sort of stuff. But to be down there in all that sweltering heat and not able to do anything about it because you don't have the strength to do anything about it.
The means, the financial means.
It's not good. Hello?
The financial means. Maybe your family can't afford to bring your fan, etc. So you're down to suffering. One of the first things that happens, right? When a friend and family member goes to JNF, what do you take up there? A fan.
What they want?
When your friend or family member goes to JNF, and therefore, you know, the first thing you take up there is a fan.
Oh, a fan.
A fan.
Okay.
You know, because you don't have central AC throughout the building, it's difficult to maintain that.
Sure.
And so you find the first thing you take up there for your family member is a fan. So imagine the folks down there in that open area. The windows are open, yes, but the heat is oppressive.
Very, yeah, and there should be getting something to deal with the heat down there, man. There should be quicker. Trust me. I in my house and I could move around and I just still be hot.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if I was just on my bed, couldn't move. You know. So yeah, so something should be done about that. Yeah, and that's my stand and the issue with the passports and so on and citizenship and so on. I think the way God instructed us as to how to make foreigners citizens, I think that is the best and will always be the best way to go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so very much. My thing, though, is to bring as much awareness as possible because so many of us are unaware of all the intricacies that is embedded in the contracts these folks sign. I can go into a lot more, but the fact is that this is a fundamental issue that we tend to overlook, or maybe it's by design we're not given the right amount of information. You know, example you spoke about the last caller, reference what's happening down at the infirmary, and we think they should get some help from that. Okay, call your live on Voices.
Hi, the King. Good morning.
Welcome to the program, sir. How are you?
I'm giving thanks for life. And yourself?
Not too bad for an old man.
Okay. Can I have permission to speak?
Most certainly.
I listened to you read out that long article, and how can you dissect it? It is so packed.
It's long, eh?
What stands out for you? What you say? There's so many things. Everyone that listens could have dissect it and present their own.
Take away something differently.
Yes.
My concern and burning question over the many years, because I spoke with a lawyer and asked him, does these passport holders have the right to vote? He's a lawyer. He says he thinks so. That was the best I've gotten. But the document I've read speaks about them being able to hold office and take part in the elections. Now, that's a major concern to me. But if you're a passport holder having all the rights of a natural citizen, we don't have that information. It has not been shared with us in the public. This is the issue. We are too much in the dark as it relates to what these folks are allowed to as a passport holder. Were there no conditions put in place?
Do you think it is that dire on citizens? What is the demographic of those passport holders? Do you think it's that dire?
If you're working with a conservative,
they would think it as a haven to be, as opposed to where they originally came from, as they're like, okay, as a resort, a last resort to say, well, look, I'm going to pick up permanent resident in Sinkit. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get involved with all of that. What would be the numbers? Would you think that number would be able to change the dynamics? We see of New Caledonia, those French areas, we see how the French would pass laws in France and would also affect New Caledonia and those French colonies. Do you think that those people would really want to come here and be permanent residents in St. Kitts and Nevis, that they will want to partake in our election, our spheres?
You remember the Huguenots?
Hoping to change the dynamics of who we are. Do you think they would overwhelm the nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis to change the dynamics of St. Kitts and Nevis? Or are they just interested in getting the passport? They can travel to all how many Schengen countries. They were able to spread their wings far and wide, and that's their sole interest.
Okay, can I answer now?
Mm-hmm.
Around 1623, Europe was more developed than the small island states. You recall a guy named Tegrement?
Mm-hmm.
When they left Europe and they came out here, you know what happened to Tegrement?
Mm-hmm.
He invited them. What happened to him within 3 years? Wiped out his race and overran the island and took it for themselves. Now they're coming back. By whatever means. And they may not be conscious yet of what they can do together, but we should not offer them that opportunity. This is the whole thing. We have not learned from our past. Some years ago, I don't want to call his name because I can verify it, but a gentleman at Southeast Peninsula was making a statement, a comment that he didn't want any lorries driving through the Southeast Peninsula when the discussion of building the bridge was in the public space. They were discussing building a bridge that would help those lorries to, you go over there, you get, and he was saying he didn't want any lorries driving in the Southeast Peninsula. He came here and borrowed money from St. Kitts, built that thing over there, and when things went south, he got monies from the government again. You understand? So the reason for them to see this as something being lucrative for them.
Well, how can you sensitize the general public apart from this radio program? Is it the earnestness of the politicians to sensitize the general public?
I've put a few of this in Calypso.
This is what is at stake here. The politicians, can the politicians unite on something? Or the politicians,
yes.
It's going to need two-thirds majority in the House to pass laws to change the Constitution to protect the people. Do you think the politicians have that fortitude to say, well, hey, guys, we're going to need some opposition bench support here on this piece of legislation because it is critical. It is critical for our survival. Do you think that this is something on the agenda? You mentioned the Martinez matter and the MSR matter. I will come back and have a discussion after the lunch.
Okay. I do appreciate that. But remember Tegrement, and I can have that question, right? Because even today, we do not teach our own history in our classrooms, claiming that we've been an independent nation for the past 40 years. So our people remain in ignorance about certain things that affects our development and our forward trajectory because it's a norm, right? And it's really a science. When you want to control the mind of the masses, you feed them religion and you keep them happy, keep them hopeful. Feed them religion, keep them hopeful. We got about, 2 minutes before we paused for the WINNFM's midday newscast, but I was prompted to read this letter. And as you mentioned, Martinez, there was a reference to him. I'm going to read that part. As part of this letter, it says, the current saga involving Philippe Martinez and his MSR suits is pregnant with the potential to inflict a moral yet perhaps paradoxical saving blow to our practice of selling our citizenship. Inasmuch as we hope for the best outcome scenario, we must prepare for the worst. In the circumstances, which must be construed as a teachable moment with significant lessons to glean therefrom, I conclude that it is wisest, best, and safest that SKN deliberately, consciously, conscientiously begin to immediately wean ourselves off of this program. Let us do away with the selling of our passports as a matter of course. I urge that we allow ourselves 5 years within which to extricate ourselves gradually but completely from this practice. So there we have it. Brings us now to midday, and we have to pause for the Win FM's midday newscast. Continue on the other side.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com. When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the Win FM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Our top stories.
St. Kitts Nevis launches initiative to decarbonize the energy sector.
NEMA spearheads a national relief supplies drive for the Windward Islands affected by Hurricane Beryl. Astro front-runner heading into Culturama 50 KAISO semifinals.
Hurricane Beryl's damage to Jamaica left at least 2 dead. People on Carriacou still struggling to cope in the aftermath of Beryl. Internationally, Labour landslide victory. Keir Starmer, UK's next Prime Minister.
Now the details.
The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, in collaboration with regional and international partners, launched the Global Environment Facility United Nations Environment Programme SKN 100 project from within the Ministry of Environment, Climate Action et al. On July 4th, 2024. The aim of the project is achieving a rapid decarbonization of the energy sector in St. Kitts and Nevis by allowing businesses and residents to shift reliance from electricity through fossil fuels to solar and other green options with government support. Reducing the Federation's greenhouse emissions by 61% by 2030 is a lofty goal, but a goal nonetheless of the Environment Ministry, and the GEF UNEP initiative is directly in line with achieving that goal and also linking the reduction to the build-out of the energy sector, according to the Environment Minister, the Honorable Dr. Joel Clark.
It's important for us to establish why we're making these commitments, why we are excited as the Ministry of Energy and Environment about this project. Why are we asking for collaboration and partnership? It's not just something that we pulled out of a hat. It's a national commitment, it's regional, and it's tied to our international obligations. And it's also cross-cutting.
Energy Minister Conrad Maynard emphasized the importance of decarbonizing the energy sector in the Federation.
Our commitment to a decarbonized energy sector is not merely a policy directive, but a fundamental pillar of our national development strategy. Our national energy policy sets forth an ambitious vision to ensure that all of us, every citizen, has access to reliable, clean, and affordable energy services. By transitioning to renewable energy sources, we help to reduce our carbon footprint. Although, even when we achieve it, it will be negligible to observe. But we are doing it nonetheless. I recall the Prime Minister said when we were in COP28, we're not looking for sympathy, we're looking for partnership, because we are going it, we are doing what we need to do, we are taking the steps we need to take. So by us transitioning to renewable energy sources, apart from helping to reduce our footprint, we also will enhance our energy security and our energy independence. It will help us to stabilize energy prices and create new economic opportunities through the development of the renewable energy sector. It is really a very good-looking future for the energy sector in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The keynote speaker during the launch, the Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis, shared the harsh reality that financing tends to be the primary factor that slows development, especially the development of geothermal energy on Nevis, a massive part of getting the Federation free from the grips of fossil fuel reliance.
And when you ask why has geothermal not yet been developed, I get asked that a lot. The answer is simply financing. Comes back to financing. We can have all the lofty ambitions in the world. Without financing, we cannot achieve those ambitions. And the minister made a very important point, Minister Maynard, that is, when he spoke about us achieving what we're seeking to achieve for us. Because truth be told, our emissions are so minimal and negligible at this point that even if we do achieve our goal of reducing those to zero, it perhaps will not have any global impact. But we're doing it nevertheless because we recognize that it is important for us to achieve energy independence. It is important for us to wean ourselves off fossil fuel. It is important for us to decarbonize our energy sector. And we do it for us. We do it for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And in so doing, I believe that we will become the model, not only for the region, but for the world.
Ruth Zugman Dukoto, the chief of the Mitigation Branch Climate Change Division of the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, expressed the organization's wholehearted support and enthusiasm for participating in the GEF project. This collective commitment from key stakeholders is a testament to the momentum of this initiative.
On behalf of UNEP, I wish to reiterate how delighted we are to work together and support St. Kitts and Nevis in this important initiative, together with the financial support of the Global Environment Facility and the execution support of the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. This project addresses significant barriers that we have seen in the video related to scaling up energy efficiency and renewable energy on the Twin Islands. Through its three components, it aims to, and I will paraphrase what the video has said, a policy and capacity building, combine pilot projects, and develop a financial mechanism. These are very important aspects to ensure that the project has continuity, a sustainability exit strategy, has a mechanism that allows the results to be financially viable, and the pilot projects to show the evidence with the aim to have energy efficient public buildings in St. Kitts and Nevis. Through these and other initiatives, such as geothermal projects, St. Kitts and Nevis has positioned itself as a leader in the Caribbean region for tackling climate change through the decarbonization of the energy sector. This project I believe, and I have seen how you are talking about that, is strategic. And not only that it will reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but just as importantly, will reduce reliance on imported oil, thus enhancing the country's energy security and balance of pay.
The UNEP representative emphasized the organization's willingness to work towards making the project come to fruition as quickly as possible to reap the benefits and share the information with other territories.
So I think this is also a project that the results can be shared in many other small island development states in the Caribbean, but not only in the Pacific as well. And if this project bear fruits, we'll be very happy to share the results. And we trust and we'll work together for the fruits to be seen as quickly as possible. The UNEP team stands ready to provide support throughout the project execution and to ensure the successful realization of these project and results and the timely achievement of the impact.
Dr. Devon Gardner, head of technical programs at the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, CCRE, lauded St. Kitts and Nevis for pushing to democratize the energy sector in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The democratization of energy, as we call it, is the single biggest piece of the just transition that we can give to our citizens. The democratization of energy on the macro scale also will allow our countries to diversify their economies from the overdependence on agriculture and fisheries and tourism, which are very climate sensitive, to a dependence on much more robust sectors such as energy. Countries like St. Kitts and Nevis in the past would never be considered within a conversation around energy 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. But now there are globalized looking at St. Kitts and Nevis as a possible energy powerhouse, not just within the region, but within the world.
With the build-out of geothermal and solar energy resources, St. Kitts and Nevis is no longer a bystander in the energy market. The Federation's efforts are gaining recognition on a regional and global scale, marking a significant shift in the energy landscape.
The CCRE is pleased to be associated with the GEF 7 project, and the GEF 7 project is intending to provide the kind of capacity backstopping to St. Kitts and Nevis that will allow for the exploration and exploitation of the energy resources by creating the kind of legal and regulatory framework that makes things predictable for investors, but also predictable for users and customers. More critically, the integrated utility services, which you would have seen spoken about, is something of which I'm proud. And is something of which St. Kitts and Nevis can be proud. Because in the end, St. Kitts and Nevis will become one of the very first countries, not only in the region, but in the world, to be able to allow for customers to achieve their own energy needs through distributed energy resources, meaning rooftop solar, distributed battery, and to use it more efficiently through efficient cooling, efficient lighting, etc., and do so by financing it through their electricity bills. We call it unbilled tariff financing. This is something which is game-changing and will ensure that the democratization of energy is one that is happening really in a way in which every single citizen can participate, because it will take away the issues around acquisition costs that would normally favor the rich and allow every citizen who has a good relationship and a good track record of paying their electricity bill to get access to monies to be able to make investments on the distributed side of their system.
The Ministers of Energy and Environment expressed gratitude to UNEP, CCRE, and all other regional and international partners for participating with the Federation to further development toward achieving a pillar of its sustainable island state agenda. The project is expected to be built out over the next 3 years, completed by 2027.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, requested donations from the general public to support the relief efforts in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada. The relief drive runs from July 5 to 19, 2024. Scheduled drop-off or delivery to NEMA's warehouse will be Mondays to Fridays between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All packages for Grenada should be marked by the acronym GND and SVG for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A receiving officer must verify the contents of the packages before they are sealed. The needs list for Grenada and its dependents include non-perishable foods, cots and sleeping blankets, pillows, battery and battery packs, hygiene kits for adults, hygiene kits for children, toiletries, first aid kits, hand sanitizers, sanitary napkins, baby pampers and wipes, baby formula, adult pampers, 5-gallon jerry cans for water, reflective vests, collapsible water bladders, 3,000 gallons and bigger, emergency solar or battery-operated radios, solar flashlights, fuel cans and notebooks, reading books or coloring books for children. The needs list for St. Vincent and the Grenadines includes cots and sleeping blankets, pillows, battery and battery packs, hygiene kits for adults, hygiene kits for children, toiletries, first aid kits, baby pampers and wipes, adult pampers, 5-gallon jerry cans for water, collapsible water bladders, battery or solar flashlights, single or double mattress, rope, shovels, and rakes. Packages that are not aligned with the needs list will not be accepted. Carriacou, Petit Martinique, Union Island, Mairo, Palm Island, and Canouan were severely impacted by Hurricane Beryl on July 1, 2024, leaving hundreds of people homeless. Abdias Samuel, National Disaster Coordinator, said, quote, "Let us all mobilize our patriotic spirit in demonstrating solidarity with the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada." The quarterfinals of a highly anticipated Culturama 50 TDC Senior Kaiso competition kicked off at Mem's Pizzeria on Thursday, July 4, 2024. The Kaiso quarterfinals featured 22 Calypsonians vying for a top 14 position to enter the semifinals. Astro moved on to the semifinals in the top spot with 254 points. Empress Lyric, 252 points. This and That, 245 points. Nutsy, 239 points. Murray, 237 points. Daddy Fresh Cold, 234 points. Lady Destiny, 232 points. Invincible, 226 points. Sabu, 224 points. Lady Smooth, 216 points. Suki, 216 points. Adowa, 215 points. Badman Polo, 204 points. And The Undertaker, 202 points. 8 Calypsonians were eliminated. They include Baker, Sweeties, Naki, Akido, Mighty J, Papa Wheeler, Jiro, and Westside, the alternate. King Hollywood, the reigning Kaiso monarch, made a special appearance in the quarterfinals. The backup singers were Deslyn Williams-Johnson, Denise Smithen, and Devon Cornelius, with music by the All Stars Band. The Calypsonians competed under the following judging criteria: lyrics 30 points, music 30 points, melody 30 points, originality 10 points, for a total of 100 points. In conversation with the chief judge, Carl Grio, he said, quote, "It was really a joy to see several Calypsonians who moved on from the junior Calypso competition performing in the senior competition. It shows continuity in the art form. I laud the parents, the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, and the Nevis Culturama Festival Committee, who have invested and continue to invest in the youth to keep the art form alive," unquote. The TDC Senior Kaiso semifinals will be held on July 21 at the Nevis Cultural Village. The Kaiso finals will be held on August 2, 2024 at the Nevis Cultural Complex.
In regional news,
Hurricane Beryl's damage to Jamaica left at least 2 dead. People on Carriacou still struggling to cope in the aftermath of Beryl. Those reports and more from Carib Update.
Carrying devastating 110 miles per hour winds with life-threatening storm surges, Hurricane Beryl battered Jamaica on Wednesday, leaving at least 2 people dead, buildings badly damaged, and thousands of homes without power. One woman died in Green Island, Hanover, after a tree fell on her house, while a 20-year-old man was washed away by floodwaters after he reportedly jumped into a gully in Arnett Gardens to retrieve a football. The Met Service has reported that while Hurricane Beryl did not make landfall, the eye wall of the system hit southern parishes, causing major damage in sections of Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth.
Torrential rain and wind gusts of over 200 kilometers per hour, Hurricane Beryl hammered Jamaica on Wednesday. The storm, which has claimed several lives across the Caribbean, has left roofs ripped off, roadways blocked by fallen trees, and communities in northern Jamaica without any electricity. In a video posted on social media, Jamaica's Prime Minister assured residents that authorities would seek to restore affected areas quickly.
The emergency services will seek to restore power and water as quickly as possible. However, citizens should not seek to remove down poles or power lines or disturb water mains. Please use the emergency numbers given to report damage to public utilities and do not take unnecessary risks.
Neighbouring St. Vincent and the Grenadines felt the brunt of the storm earlier this week. 95% of homes were destroyed and there is no more electricity nor usable roads. The island of Barbados has also been affected. In the capital of Bridgetown, fishermen at the harbour removed sunken fragments of their boats smashed to pieces by big waves overnight.
I never really experienced a system like this yet, at this magnitude, but yeah, I don't think that nobody wants to go through this yet.
Hurricane Beryl is the first Category 5 Atlantic storm of the season. It is expected to pass by the Cayman Islands on Thursday before heading for Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Authorities there are already making preparations. Schools have been suspended in some states, shelters set up and military personnel deployed.
The people on the Grenadian walled island of Carriacou are struggling to cope there amidst the utter disaster following Beryl's passage on Monday. With no adequate shelter on the island and with emergency supplies not yet up to the mark required, people are banding together in any way they can to try to cope. Grenada has written to financial agencies and multilateral partners requesting that the debt payment suspension clause in several loan agreements be triggered because of the devastation on the country by Hurricane Beryl. In 2022, the national debt of Grenada amounted to an estimated $0.77 billion. Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell was speaking during a press conference late Wednesday. He said the passage of Hurricane Beryl is having both fiscal and social impacts on the economy, and the country will need significant resources. The government of Antigua and Barbuda will be making a case at the upcoming meeting of COP for the Loss and Damage Fund to be put into immediate effect in light of the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl to multiple Caribbean countries. Prime Minister Gaston Brown says the damage caused by the hurricane underscores that climate change poses an existential threat to countries such as the small island developing states of the Caribbean. He charged that he will be making recommendations for all SIDS to set up a disaster contingency fund to be capitalized by proceeds of the Loss and Damage Fund to be replenished over time. Brown suggests that there should be compensatory mechanisms within the fund to assist countries such as those affected by the hurricane to recover. During a post-cabinet media briefing on Thursday in Antigua, Lionel Hurst, Chief of Staff at the Prime Minister's office, reiterated Antigua's call for vulnerable nations to be compensated for natural disasters caused by climate change. Hurst said Hurricane Beryl has highlighted the severe impact that one storm can have on a country. Hurst added that Antigua and Barbuda remains ready to help its neighbors in their time of need and has already sent aid such as food, water, and other emergency supplies to Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The United Nations is to make available $4 million from its Central Emergency Response Fund to kickstart humanitarian operations in Grenada, Jamaica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he was deeply dismayed by the destruction wreaked by Hurricane Beryl, the strongest hurricane in the history in the Atlantic Ocean during the month of June. Guterres has expressed his solidarity with the people and governments of the nations affected by this disaster and extend his condolence to the families of the victims and wishes a swift recovery to those injured. The United Nations envoy for Haiti has welcomed recent strides towards restoring democracy amid alarming levels of violence, while the country's interim prime minister emphasized that the people continue to fight for a better future. Special representative of the Secretary General for Haiti and head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti, Benue, Maria Isabel Salvador, told the Security Council on Wednesday that the Caribbean nation is making headway to restoring democratic institutions to enhance security and credible elections.
The installation of the Transitional Presidential Council in April and the designation of a prime minister and a new government sworn in last month are clear indications of progress. Works have continued at the Port-au-Prince airport, where flights have resumed, and the building of the base that will house the multinational security support mission has been completed.
Salvador also said that the deployment of the first group of Kenyan police officers for the multinational security support mission is an important step in its implementation of Security Council Resolution 2699 and brings renewed hope to the people of Haiti. Nevertheless, the special representative said alarming levels of violence remain a source of great concern, as indiscriminate gun violence has been consistently spreading beyond the capital to other regions of the country.
The gang's recurrent attacks since 29 February have severely hampered national and international efforts to fast-track the recruitment process of new police officers, and attrition rates in the national police continue to be high. The recent designation of a new Director General of the Haitian National Police brings new hope to the continuous fight against gang violence.
Some 5 million people in Haiti, nearly half of its population, are struggling to feed themselves as the ongoing gang violence has cut off the city from suppliers.
We now bring you these international reports.
The 10 p.m. chimes of Big Ben marked the end of the UK election, and if the exit poll is accurate, the end of Britain's Conservative government.
The exit poll is here. It is predicting a Labour landslide, a Labour majority of 170.
Labour will have captured 410 seats, adding 209.
A landslide, and then some.
A Labour landslide. In pubs and election gatherings, people gasped and cheered at the prediction. Words like landslide, wipeout and supermajority have been widely used in the week leading up to this election, but this outcome would be the Conservative Party's worst election performance for more than a century.
This is a truly historic election for the United Kingdom. I think the Conservatives basically having their worst ever result is going to leave them with a real period of soul searching, and frankly they've got no one to blame but themselves. The public perception of the Conservative Party has never been so low, and that's through Boris Johnson and Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, and they're all equally responsible for the state the Conservative Party find themselves in.
Counting more than 30 million ballot papers nationwide is an army of election volunteers working through the night. In each election, there's an unofficial race to be the first constituency to complete the counting and announce its result. This election, it was Sunderland South which declared first. The first to be elected to the new Parliament, a Labour MP.
Bridget Mead Phillipson has been duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency.
Within minutes, one became two, as Labour also won in Blyth. But in a sign perhaps of things to come, in both of those constituencies, the right-wing populist party Reform UK took second place. The exit poll is grim news for the Scottish National Party. From the 43 seats they had at Westminster to just 10 seats they're predicted to hold. Rishi Sunak's Conservative Party is imploding like a tin can in a vacuum chamber, squashed from the 344 MPs it had going into this election to a predicted 131 coming out of it. And several of the casualties are expected to be senior government ministers. After 14 years as the opposition party, Labour appears to be on the brink of triumph. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, London.
Change only happens if you vote for it.
As much of Europe lurches to the right, Keir Starmer's leftist-centre Labour Party is set to take office in Britain for the first time in 14 years. Here's how we got here. Keir Starmer is from a left-wing family. He shares his name with Keir Hardie, the founder of the Labour Party, but he actually came to politics in his 50s after a successful career as a barrister.
It is the honour and the privilege of my life to be elected as leader of the Labour Party.
Starmer came to lead the party in 2020, and it wasn't all smooth sailing at all. Keir Starmer inherited an incredibly divided party. It was riven by row over anti-Semitism and the defeat in 2019, which led to the resignation of leader Jeremy Corbyn, was incredibly damaging.
I will not lead the party in any future general election campaign.
Having said that, Starmer has now put himself in a position to take office. Part of that is to do with how how Conservative fortunes have fallen apart with the resignation of Boris Johnson and then Liz Truss, but it's also been to do with how Keir Starmer has instilled a sense of discipline in the party. Now that the Labour Party are coming to power, it's possible that Starmer will face pressure from trade unions, from some on the left of his party, to be a bit bolder, to deliver a real sense of change. And even though Starmer says there isn't a magic wand, he is hoping to deliver growth, which might be able to put a bit more investment into public services. The Conservatives say that things like Labour are going to have to announce more tax increases, something that Keir Starmer has denied. Starmer has said that growth will be enough to deliver the improvement in public finances that the Labour government will need in order to increase spending. But if that growth isn't forthcoming, then he could find that his honeymoon period is quite short indeed.
Markets reacted positively Friday to a comprehensive election win for Keir Starmer's Labour Party.
Change begins now.
The pound, British stocks and government bonds all rose on Friday morning. The blue chip FTSE 100 index gained around 0.4% in early trades, while sterling edged higher against the dollar and held steady against the euro. Starmer's centre-left Labour won a massive majority in the 650-seat parliament.
Our task is nothing less than renewing the ideas that hold this country together.
It meant Rishi Sunak's Conservatives suffered the worst performance in the party's long history. Voters punished them for a cost of living crisis, failing public services and a series of scandals. One leading analyst said a landslide victory provides the sort of clarity and stability equity markets need in a volatile world. Sterling has edged up since Sunak called the election in late May. It's the strongest performing major currency against the dollar this year, with a gain of 0.3%. On a trade-weighted basis, the pound is now back where it was at the time of the Brexit vote 8 years ago. It reflects a belief among traders and investors that a period of intense market volatility in the UK may be drawing to a close. UK stocks have hit record highs this year, helped by a slow-growing but comparatively stable economy and decelerating inflation. But the memory of the market chaos triggered by former Prime Minister Liz Truss's mini-budget of September 2022 is still fresh in investor minds. Britain has suffered from the highest inflation and some of the highest interest rates in the developed world over the last couple of years. Looking ahead, the Bank of England is widely expected to lower interest rates at some point in the next few months.
U.S. President Joe Biden used 4th of July celebrations on Thursday to hit back at doubts about his stamina and mental acuity. As Biden mingled with guests, he repeated his pledge to remain in the presidential race after a supporter called out for him to keep up the fight.
You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right.
Since the 81-year-old Democrat's shaky debate performance against Republican rival Donald Trump last week, his appearances are being even more closely scrutinized, and some in his party have urged him to step aside. If re-elected, Biden would be 86 at the end of a second term, and many Democratic voters are worried about whether he can keep up a grueling pace of work for another term. Abigail Disney, granddaughter of Walt Disney, on Thursday became the latest major Democratic donor to call for Biden to withdraw from the race, telling CNBC that she will halt donations to the party until he does so. U.S. Independence Day festivities hosted by Biden at the White House included a barbecue for a few thousand active-duty military service members and their families.
Happy Independence Day!
Reading from a teleprompter, Biden made no major errors in delivering brief remarks, but at one point appeared to go off-script to make reference to a war cemetery that Trump declined to visit while in office.
And by the way, you know, I was in that World War I cemetery in France, and the one that one of our colleagues, the former president, didn't want to go and be up there. I probably shouldn't even say it. Anyway.
Biden was joined at the celebrations by Vice President Kamala Harris. Sources have said that Harris is the leading contender to take Biden's place in the November election if Biden were to drop out, though his allies remain confident he can shore up support from voters and donors. Among the events on Biden's calendar being closely scrutinized is an interview with ABC News set to be broadcast in a Friday primetime slot. He also travels to Wisconsin the same day for a campaign rally.
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines?
St. Kitts Nevis launches initiative to decarbonize the energy sector.
NEMA spearheads a national relief supplies drive for the Windward Islands affected by Hurricane Beryl. Astro front-runner heading into Culturama 50 CAISO semifinals.
Hurricane Beryl's damage to Jamaica left at least 2 dead. People on Carriacou still struggling to cope in the aftermath of Beryl. Internationally, Labour landslide victory. Keir Starmer, UK's next Prime Minister.
Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, and Cariboury.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured. Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's 11:39. Sorry, that's 12:39. And we're well back into the second half of today's presentation of Voices. Before we get into high gear, though, we will pause and give credit to our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Horsford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less. With our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
Okay, good afternoon to our viewers and listeners. The lines are now open, so we can entertain any call and, just go into about any topic that you want to raise. But I'd like to address what is a PSA for taxi operators. This coming Tuesday at 4 o'clock up at the NEMA building, there'll be a meeting held for taxi operators. Presenting will be Ambassador Larry Vaughan, presenting on the topic of free movement of people in the region. And the outreach is for taxi drivers who want to give an input. That will be taken back to the Prime Minister to inform a decision. Okay? So let's see if we can get the caller back online. If you're the caller, you're live. All right, and when I get back in. They're there? Okay, good. The caller, you're live on Voices.
Yes, good afternoon, Socrates.
I called your name this morning, man. You leave me hanging, man. What kind of thing that?
I heard you. I was actually listening to Parliament, and I switched just in time to hear you solicit my opinion on, was it CBI citizens voting? Or
yes, nobody's really clarified to the public at large if these passport holders have the rights to vote in our elections. So I was trying to get somebody to weigh in, somebody of authority, and you are that, in my estimation.
No,
to give us some insight.
A legal thing. I'm not a legal person.
Okay.
But I do have an opinion on it.
Please.
But before I give that, I heard the Premier, as I said, I was listening to Parliament, and I heard Premier Brantley making a spirited defense against the public not having access to their overseas bank account and stashes and so on. Okay? Saying that it's none of our business. Essentially, it was none of our business.
Public servants? Public servants?
Well, for public officials generally.
Yeah.
He said essentially it's none of our business. If a man decides to have a little stash away there in a foreign account for his children or whatever, ain't our business. Okay? Public officials or not.
Subject to scrutiny?
Well, he said it's none of our business. Or what do you glean from that? Okay. Interestingly, I was actually in town, and I ran into Honorable Alexis Jeffers on his way, I guess, to Parliament.
Okay.
And I accosted him on it. And essentially he was echoing the same sentiments. But, he basically suggesting that politicians are people first, and they too should have a right to privacy. Okay? And as long as there were checks and balances, at least he did introduce that caveat. Okay? That sounds reasonable, you would think. But we have had too many bad experiences with politicians. And because they are people too. And you know that people are tempted to abuse the power and privilege vested in them. It's a fact of life. There's always a complaint about politicians. And so the checks and balances are absolutely necessary. Interestingly enough, too, I mean, he agreed with me that the Integrity Commission should be more muscular in doing their jobs. He actually said that, okay? Something I've been saying for quite some time, okay? He made it a point of saying that the NIA had filed their declarations both last year and this year, but I don't know that the federal officials have done theirs, okay? You know, last year there was a big fanfare and photo op and so on. I don't remember seeing any of that this year from I think aside from the NIA, but not
from the side.
You know, so I would expect, we won't know the declarations, obviously, the details of the declaration, but I would have expected the Integrity Commission to come out and say, well, we've had 80% compliance.
Yes.
Compliance, right? Or these particular officials have complied and have been cleared. Just that. Not details on how many millions they have.
Understood. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, but you hear nothing. Okay, and so that's what happens. You can pass laws and so on and regulations and appoint people, but if people don't manage the system properly, there are going to be all kinds of loopholes where people can get away with stuff. Okay, and that's not good. That does not inspire confidence in our system.
The due diligence protocols that ought to be in place. It's a regulatory body to an extent, and it will say whether or not that these accounts overseas, they have been through the scrutiny and they're legit. There's nothing wrong because from the get-go, we have done all the scrutiny, the due diligence, and these guys are okay. But without that in place, they have a right to tell you that your business.
They have a right?
No, what I'm saying, the public officials, right? And they're entitled to the private account, etc. But you can't have X amount, say figure, into your account and you cannot give accounting for it. Right. You cannot do that.
That's the whole idea.
Or you ought not be able to do that.
If you're on the public payroll and you have access to public funds and a big responsibility for public funds, you have to be able to account for it.
And if your account...
Otherwise, it becomes a free-for-all. You can't do that.
If your bank account is presenting in excess of what your salary allows, there are questions that have to be answered. You're a public figure.
Right. But quite apart from that, the public, you work for the public.
Yes.
And the public has a right to know if you are in compliance. It's not just for the Integrity Commission to just shut up. And even if they're doing their work, even if they are doing whatever investigations are necessary, even if the people are all in compliance, they don't just shut up and say nothing, because how would
the public has a right to know
these people? No. They must come out with something that says all the public officials or whichever public officials are in compliance and which are not, so that we can grade them accordingly and know what to do with them. Okay? Even if the Integrity Commission don't want to go as far as to where they can't prosecute, but turn over whatever the findings are to the DPP, at least we would know that something is awry and do something about it when the time comes. Right? So let's hope that changes, that the Integrity Commission becomes more muscular and they become not like some secret agency in government that just does their thing and nobody knows anything. There's no oversight of it. Nobody knows.
But did we have this language called integrity in public life legislation?
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. We can have all kind of laws if they're not enforced. If they're not enforced, what's the use?
All right.
You see, that's the point.
But sometimes when you get the impression that you're a big fish in a small pond and you know the legalese, nobody could challenge you, so you do what you want. This is bad, that's wrong, that's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. When you have that amount of responsibility, you have when you have that amount of privilege and power, you should be responsible with it, okay, and not abuse it.
And sometimes the voting public, they give you that impression because they support your party. You ain't doing nothing. You can do what you want. That is dangerous.
Well, I'll tell you.
Are you there? It seems we would have missed lost the signal on the call. If you get a chance, sir, please reconnect if you can. We'd love to continue this little dialogue with you. But that's a very important point you raise, and I still want to get your input on the whole issue. Are you back, sir?
Yeah, somehow I got cut off. I don't know why.
I know you pay your phone bill, right?
No. I try to be compliant. Yeah.
There you go.
Always compliant there.
Okay, back.
But I was about to say that I've lost, or I haven't been through so many election cycles, so many governments, change of government. I have grown like a lot of people, very cynical and
jaded.
I wouldn't say disillusioned, but very cynical
Jaded.
about the current crop of politicians. I just don't trust them. That's the long and short of it. Okay, they're great when they're in opposition, but as soon as they get into office, it's like I don't know what it is about the office, but they just turn on a dime. You know, I really can't understand why. Okay, if something was wrong before and you come in and do the same thing, you're just as wrong. Okay, and so you still have, even though we used to complain about transparency and accountability and so on in the past, those things we still have to be complaining about that. There's no, somehow running government is all of a sudden some big secret that you got to keep on the wraps. I don't understand it at all.
The whole issue with the letting the public know how many passports or units have been sold, if you're talking about accountability, if you berated the former administration because they didn't do that, you should be happy to do that. Start with a clean slate.
But it almost sounds as if, and it's just like what the previous administration used to do, you know. They would say, well, we advance the integrity in public life legislation to this point. We don't give you all of it. We give you it in little drips and so on. Okay, and then claim that, well, we're doing something about it. And it's the same thing now. Okay, we give you some information about the CBI now, but we're not going to give you all the information. Okay, and you could bet your life if this thing hadn't come out, this court case hadn't come out, we would have known even much less. You know, we would have been none the wiser on how this thing operates and what's going on. Okay, and like I said, I don't understand why. It really it bedevils me how
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, you know.
Because you put faith.
The CEO made it a point of saying that the public has a right to know these things, but I guess he was overridden by the powers that be, whoever they are. You know, it does not engender trust and confidence from the populace.
Isn't the Prime Minister the person in charge?
Yes, I think.
Who overrides him?
Ministry of Finance, maybe, yeah.
Who overrides him?
What's that?
Who overrides him? Who have the power to override him if he wants to come and present certain information to the public? There are sensitive issues that cabinet would discuss.
In a sense, you're right. I mean, not only that, though, right? Remember, he operates in a cabinet.
Yes, I was saying that. There's certain issues they discuss and they have to be, they can't share with the public, right?
Exactly.
But in as much as you can share based on the promises or the position you will have taken prior to being in office, you have an obligation to address the nation and explain the best you can.
That is the word. You have an obligation.
Yes.
And it's not a case of, it's not your own private bar shop or business you're running. It's the public. You know? So don't make it sound as if when we request information, we're doing something that we shouldn't. Right? I was most disappointed, actually, at the last roundtable discussion when the Prime Minister asked, I think, Bart, somehow I didn't hear the question properly. Somehow the mic, something went wrong with the mic just when he was asking the question. But basically, the Prime Minister asked him, where are you getting this information from? As if to say, you know, don't ask me nothing. What are you asking me? What is this you're asking me?
I see.
No. Come on, man. Be open and transparent with people, and don't get thin-skinned like your predecessors when you ask them something. You know, set up the back.
Too many of us are deliberately being kept in the dark, and it's not good. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
It's not. But to answer your question directly with
the rights, the voting rights.
I personally don't believe in first and second class citizenship. Okay, either you're a citizen or you're not. But I do understand that a lot of nations do have it. I mean, okay, for instance, I mean, you can be a citizen of the states, for instance.
Yeah, but naturalized.
Between natural, you can become naturalized, or you can be a born citizen.
Correct.
Okay? And they themselves insert rights for those classes, because you have to be a born citizen, for instance, to run for the presidency.
Yes.
So you can insert those rights. And similarly here, we can do the same thing. As it currently obtains, I'm not so sure that it does. I don't think there's any stipulation that says if you're a CBI citizen, you can't run for political office or you can't vote. Right? I don't think the framers of that thought of this back then. Right? And even so, in the initial stages in 94, you know, the years succeeding 94, the numbers were so small that
it didn't matter.
Really didn't matter.
It didn't factor in at the time.
But now you get up with the 50,000 and so on. That's a big deal. And I would have thought, I mean, one of the first things on the order paper for Parliament, after hearing those numbers, would be to make sure that the rights of those citizens, those 50,000 plus, are clearly defined. Right? I don't know if you could backdate them or stipulate them now, but they absolutely need to be clearly defined laws governing them. And not only that, at some point we have to determine what is the limit. Is it another 50,000? How many more are we going to sell?
That's a vexing matter with me as to how many. Do we have to continue? Is that the only means you have of generating economic activity in the country?
Well, right now it is, unfortunately. Okay?
Well,
right
that's sad.
So so you can't just abandon it. But we really should be thinking about curtailing it, and actually Premier Brantley came up with a suggestion that is probably a way to go as well, to engage them more. It was in the Observer newspaper recently, to engage them more, since a lot of them have money and so on, engage them more to try and invest in the country. Okay? There is, of course, a draconian way of doing it. Similarly, just say, tax all citizens a certain whatever percentage of the income
All citizens. You want to risk?
Yeah, it could be all citizens. Because if you say, for instance, everybody who have, of course, you'd have to make declarations and so on. Anybody with an income over, let's say, $1 million annually should be taxed 1% or something like that. I mean, that would exclude a lot of people here. It won't exclude all, but I'm sure there are some millionaires here as well. But it will certainly include a lot of the people who get our citizenship, and that will be a way of bringing in income. It's draconian, but if the program is going out anyway, I suppose you have nothing to lose.
Well, the author of the document is recommending a 5-year period to just wean yourself off the program.
5 years to wean us off?
Yep.
There's a document that does that?
What I read this morning. The article says an argument against selling citizenship.
Michael Blake's thing. I actually just started reading it. It's the same Observer newspaper that I just mentioned. Has it in, yeah?
He's now in Ghana, you know. He's now in Ghana.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to read it thoroughly and see what he's saying. But basically, I don't know if 5 years can do it. We've become so. I mean, remember that the Prime Minister is a quarter. What is it? A quarter of our
GDP.
Yeah, is used for social programs and so on, or the budget is used for things like lift and
development, projections, social services,
and elevate and so on. So that's to get us off of that, or to replace that in 5 years may mean abandoning some of these programs.
Train the people.
That gonna
train the people. Make the skills more marketable, not dependent on a weekly monthly salary just to maintain it because you're creating jobs.
You know something? There is that, I would call it a fallacy, that if you just simply train people, that everything's going to be okay. That's not so. Right? What is more important, or I shouldn't say more important, but equally important, is making sure there's growth and investment in the country. People have to have jobs and opportunities for business opportunities and those things. Otherwise, look how many people come back from university, for instance, and can't find jobs based on the university.
I'm talking about vocational skills. These people who are getting the assistance from the pop on the lift, like that, that demographic.
Even those in a small community, you can get saturated very easily unless there is that growth and development and investment opportunities that are there. Okay? You see what I mean?
I understand that.
Yes, there might be a shortage. There might be a shortage of plumbers now, for instance. But you train...
You're oversaturated, you understand. But against the backdrop of the OECS free movement of people in the region, rather than have people coming in with that skill set and they're more employable than who we have here, at least you prepare them for a level of autonomy.
What will be good is if you train, if they can migrate. But somehow, I guess life is good here. So I don't think we're in that tendency to migrate. Neighboring islands like before. Like in the 70s and 80s and so on. There isn't that inclination. Okay, but yes, I'm not saying that training and so on is a bad thing. I mean, I agree that people should be trained. It's always better when you're trained, okay? But that in itself, I don't think
is a cure-all.
Would do it. We have to have, and I think that is where the government is falling short, right? You got to go after investment and you got to get growth. You got to get jobs and so on going. That is what is going to wean people off these social programs, and it would make it easier for us to wean ourselves.
So you think a 5-year time frame would not be enough? Because in the meantime, in the interim, you can be pursuing the same program you're talking about.
I am skeptical as to whether that's five. I think that might be a bit ambitious, but at least the thought is there, or the inclination is there to get us off of that.
Okay.
Right, because we absolutely need to do just that. Get us off of those kinds of.
Okay. We have to pause for a station break, and I'm really happy that you called. But go through Mr. Blake's article, and then you can probably call with a more informed opinion. Thank you very much. And thank you, sir. We now pause for.
Attention, savvy shoppers. It's that time of year again to upgrade your home and feed your family with Hortford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. For over 25 years, we've been making dreams come true by offering cashback coupons for free groceries on all hire purchases. That's right, we've given away over $1 million worth of groceries to our loyal customers. And this year, it's your time to cash in on the savings. Whether you're in the market for a new sofa, a sleek kitchen upgrade, or a cozy bedroom set, Hortford's and Ashley Furniture Home Store have everything you need to turn your house into a home. And when you make a higher purchase with us, you'll receive cashback coupons redeemable for free groceries. Yes, so why wait? Visit Hortford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Upgrade your home, feed your family, and save big with cashback coupons for free groceries. Only at Hortford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hortford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less and save more. How, you ask? Essential Everyday and Equiline. Spend less on our Essential Everyday products and get the best quality, the best taste, and the best value. Spend less for all your family health and beauty needs with the Equiline brand of over-the-counter products. Hortford's Value Mart IGA is helping you spend less with our Essential Everyday products and Equiline over-the-counter health and beauty care products. Shop smart and spend less at Value Mart, where price matters most.
We're back saying good afternoon to Amber and Sam over there in Anguilla. Logging on to the vibes and enjoying a little vibes from St. Kitts. Guys, hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, yes, I'm speaking about a meeting that's to be held at 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon up at the NEMA building, and this is mainly for taxi drivers. I'll repeat this afterwards. Let me take this call. Good day, call you live on Voices.
Yes, Socrates.
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Yes. I would like to say certain things as usual. First of all.
Yes.
First of all, concerning the passport thing that you're talking about, and which I said something earlier. But you know what? The government gonna have to resort to all kind of schemes to meet the demands that the people are asking of the government continually and additionally.
What are the people asking?
Well, people are asking for everything. People are asking for to provide security, to provide roads, to provide schools, to provide...
St. Vincent do not have a similar program. They actually argue against it. And they're doing well in terms of developing their country. We don't have to be dependent on this program. So, what?
They don't have to be dependent on... Yeah, but we are asking for them. We are asking for... I agree they should be eliminated. These programs should be eliminated. I agree, but we are asking for them. And the government... and we are asking for a whole heap of things. Welfare, everything we are asking for. So the government have to get the money from somewhere to meet all of these demands and the increasing cost through inflation to maintain them and preserve them. And because of that, the government, until it increases the taxes, in the meantime...
Will you remain dependent?
Hello?
Will you remain dependent on this program?
The government will have to continually in one way or the other to find the money to maintain all of these things we are demanding of the government to provide and to give and to own and to control and to regulate and that sort of stuff.
Suppose something happens now, so this passport becomes very unattractive and we can't get sales, and what happens?
And we can't get sales?
Yes.
Then the government gonna have to face a bit more reality and maybe sooner than later increase the taxes a whole lot more.
So why wait until something like that happens before we start to panic and end up in a crisis, rather than start to pursue programs now that really meet the need of developing the country? We should not be dependent on selling the passport. The question comes into play now, how many more we have to sell to maintain?
Until the government decide, you know what? Let me put up the taxes on the people to get the money. Until then, the government going to resort to everything else, including selling passport. There will be no end to it unless maybe the outside countries force an end or something like that. Until the outside countries force an end or something like that, the government going to always be resorting to all kind of means, including not limited to, but including selling passports to get the money to fulfill all that we are demanding of the government.
You recall,
that's just the reality.
do you recall some couple of years ago there was a bit of competition between St. Kitts Nevis and the neighboring island because they were selling at a lower rate in order to stay in the market. So it became what we call a race to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So it decreases the value of the passport. So anybody, I figure some $80,000 was mentioned in this current lawsuit, where they should be selling it at $275,000, and some entity got it for $80,000. This is nonsense.
Well, you see, but like I said, Socrates, everything government does is at a cost and expense ultimately to us. And until it decides to put up the taxes on the people, which is going to kill out the economy, until then, the government going to be resorting to all kind of schemes, all kind of this and that, to get the money, to provide and to control and to give and that sort of stuff, all that the people are demanding of it.
I have a question for you. I have a question for you, okay? In Nevis, there are no fast food chains. In Anguilla, there are no fast food chains. Dr. Simmons was described by Michael Powell as being the biggest obstacle to progress, right? Because among other things, he did not want to entertain any fast food chains on St. Kitts, right? What do you think the health bill, or how negatively the health bill, well, I phrased it the wrong way. What do you think the fast food chains, the impact on our health bill across the country, is causing the country?
Well,
I would have to name them, but we know who they are, the main entities.
I don't know. I don't know how the medical bill is because of the fast food chain. Because I'm sure the medical bill have many factors contributing to it.
But in terms of what we present with diabetes, hypertension, obesity, etc., is linked mainly to these fast food chains and to be relevant to our people to be independent. Dr. Martin stated some years ago, Dr. Martin, right, that we have Patrick Martin, that we have
I know what you mean.
The fattest women in the world per capita as a result of that. He did his data, he presented.
Yeah, but also, do you know our life expectancy has been increasing too?
Yeah, but you live long, but you're not healthier.
We live longer,
but not healthier. You can live about 10 years longer, but you're in a wheelchair, you have all kind of chronic diseases, and you become a dependent on somebody else.
At least you're living.
No, that's not living.
At least you're living.
That's not living.
Because if you die 30, if you die at 50, let's say you die at 50, and other people live at 80. Yes,
medical science.
But at least you're living.
Medical science offers you a chance because of something to live a longer life, but it's not necessarily healthier. So there's no spin-off there.
I think more people are exercising. I think more people are dieting and that kind of stuff than before.
So they contribute to their health and their longevity, right? But you cannot be having one in one hand, exercise, good diet, and then going to these places to eat and clog your arteries. Pardon.
Well, you see, the reason long time ago, one of the reason that over the decades earlier that we never had people living longer is because these diseases were killing them out. Even long before the fast food chains came in, these diseases that you're naming were killing them out and was worse.
Caribbean nationals live longer and healthier. Fact.
But what I'm saying is that in our particular case, the reason why years back, even before the fast food change came in, that people wasn't living as long as we're living today because the same diseases were killing them out. It's just that it was worse than them.
Example.
And that caused them not to live as long as we are living today.
Anyway, I won't get into much of that data.
But to tell you, like to quickly say, you mentioned that government does sell people religion, but it ain't really religion they'll sell them or not.
I said that?
It is bread and circus that they're selling the people. The entertainment, giving them food, all kind of stuff, is what they sell to the people, give to the people to distract them.
It's called pork barrel politics.
Hello?
It's called pork barrel politics.
Yes, pork barrel politics. That is why really the government is giving the people music festival, carnival, food, all kind of stuff to really distract them, the bread and circus events. And lastly, I would like to say concerning green energy and that stuff that was on the news. That Matt Bradley was speaking about. Green energy is not developed enough, it's not advanced enough to push a growing economy where you have to manufacture things and that sort of stuff. That technology has not developed and advanced to that degree to push such an economy. And I suspect that one of the reasons that I've been hearing that the electricity rates has been increased in Nevis is because Nevis has been moving more and more in the green energy direction.
Okay, well, I don't have any data on that, so I won't try to contradict you.
Yes, because green energy is, at this point in time, it is not reliable and it is very expensive.
Okay.
Two double negatives.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. If you have no call on the line, let me just present this information. It relates to a meeting to be held on Tuesday afternoon at the NEMA building for taxi drivers or operators. It's to have a discussion with Mr. Larry Vaughan on the whole issue of free movement of the people in the region. There has to be a report going back to the Prime Minister that will inform his decision as to how we move forward. So the need to hear from all the varying sectors of society, the taxi fraternity, very much involved in this. We need you to show up in your numbers, have Mr. Vaughan make his presentation, ask him the hard questions, make your opinions known, and that will inform the Prime Minister as to how we view the whole free movement issue. So don't not show up and then we'll hear this and hear that and have an opinion. You're asked to be there for 4 o'clock. We have some scheduling issues with getting the venue and the availability of Mr. Vaughan. Okay, today we got to confirm. So sorry for the late notice, so to speak. Today's Friday, Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. You're asked to present yourself up at the NEMA building to be part of that discussion. So you can't say that they just forced on you without your input. Like, call your live on voices.
Greetings, sir.
Pleasant. How are you, sir?
Yeah, man. Up full and true, you know?
Okay.
How about the eye?
Yeah, everything is okay, man. I just love hearing you. I just love your wisdom.
Yeah, man. King Selassie is almighty, you know?
Humble.
Show us what to talk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Watch here. You're talking about the passport
issue.
Right?
Yes.
Now, first thing you say, right? These labels where we give yourself, petition and all of them things. You really believe that? Really believe in these things here? Because you see, I'll show you right. We talk about selling passport. We were sold into slavery, which means we existed before selling a passport, right?
Correct.
We were sold into slavery. Now you don't talk about that. You know what I mean? The fact that we're being sold and the disadvantage and all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, selling the passport, is it illegal?
No. No, but it's the whole nationality.
Yeah, but you see, nationality, but we look at identity. Remember, when as African people, African, that's our identity. See? No, we were sold. And they tell you that slavery was legal at the time when we were sold. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Today we're living on our government selling the passports, and it is also legal to do so.
Correct.
Right? Now, the reason why they're doing so is for survival.
Economic developments?
Yeah, economic-wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we take great pride in the passport as a Kittian. But a Kittian is anybody born in St. Kitts, whether black, white, Chinese, cool, whoever them be. Right?
I got you.
Them are the Kittian. You understand? So, if our government was sold into slavery too, decide we're going to sell the passport for survival of all of us, right? I don't really see that as a problem, as long as they ain't selling we sell, right? I don't see it as a problem because we must be cognizant of our ground in terms of the economic fight.
Sometimes it's not what you do, but how you do it. The question I'm posing, okay? Say we have 50,000 people, nationals, resident here because we migrate all over the world, right? And these persons are based on the last recording. They have sold over 63,000 passports. They're holders of our passports, and they have the power to vote. Come election time, the issues that affect us may not affect them at the same level, but they can come in and vote and change the whole tone of our country. Change what's happening here because they have the power to vote. That is the issue.
But some of the time the change may work out in our best interest.
Some of the time it didn't work out for Tegumentine.
Huh?
It did not work out for Tegumentine.
Yeah, but what I'm saying now, all of these things with Teguman and all of these things, happen for our edification.
No. Can't be for edification. Cannot be.
We get a little wiser, but me I try to say, I'm telling the man the truth, man. You know what I mean? We remember, this. Well, me ask a question. We own St. Kitts. We don't own St. Kitts. You understand? So
we have a national identity as national St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a national identity, and the passport says you're a national of St. Kitts and Nevis, a citizen.
Yes, I'm trying to show you black, white, coolie, Chinese, all of us, right? This is our document.
Yes.
The passport. See? Now, the government make a decision to say, offer citizenship to foreign people, other foreign people to generate income for the country, right? I think it's in benefit of all of us. You know what I mean? If you look at it that way, because if you can't, I'm saying, right, this fight to destroy these programs and make these countries in the Caribbean come economically feeble, right? It's a real fight, You see all of this hurricane Beryl, in my estimation, that was a hybrid, and it was designed to mash up the tourist business. See? Remember what these guys out of Europe and America don't say about the passport business, They would love to see that they destroy, so that we come to IMF or World Bank and we come begging them all the while. You know what I mean? So, yeah, everything in 100% with what we want to see going, but at least we must see what going against us. You know what I mean?
I'll grant you that NAFTA destroyed the banana industry of St. Lucia and Dominica. Right?
What?
NAFTA, their policies that trade between Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. destroyed or damaged the wind industry, the banana industry between Dominica and St. Lucia.
Right.
So those countries became more dependent. Right? But if all we are left with is selling on nationality, you got a problem with that. I don't believe I should elect a leader or government who focuses only on selling the passport or the nationality of the country. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, but it's a fine line. Watch here, King. Watch here. We are African people, right? So we are people in transition. We are transition here and seeing it. Africa, we're supposed to be heading going. You know what I mean? It's Africa, we're supposed to be filling up with mind, you know, because we were taken from there to do some work out here, and we got problems to reach back over here.
Yeah, but what you're advocating is not a national policy, not even a regional policy.
Right.
It's a sentiment, but it's not a national or regional or realistic policy.
What isn't a realistic policy?
What you're advocating, going back to Africa, is not a national policy.
What is it?
So even said that we are in transition.
What you are, we are dealing with is illusion, you know. Because look at the problem we got today. Right now you're saying that we shouldn't sell the passport. So what we gonna do?
It wasn't just not sell. There were a lot more involved. But I got 5 minutes to go and have a next caller. So I want to engage with this, and next time we have more time to have a better discourse. All right? Respect you, sir. Caller. Okay. Ross, we got to talk about this. There's a lot more in it, and I feel you. I have a lot of respect for you, but we need more time to thrash it out. I don't mind if you come into the studio, let's have a sit down. We'll do it. But back to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices. But the caller, you're live on Voices.
Socrates, I hear listening you and I'm supporting you 1,000,000%. I see where you're coming from.
Much appreciated.
If they're going to keep selling passports, they're going to sell more passports than the population and think that if they have to come to vote, that's going to be something else.
That's the point I'm making?
These rich people, redneck people coming back to take over the country again. If that is what's going to happen. I think they're supposed to have time frame and just shut it off and deal with something else. It's too much.
It's too much.
The Indian, Chinese, and all of them, and the little handful of Kitchen we're going to leave back.
Mm-hmm.
We don't can outvote them. And people, they ain't looking at long term. This thing is they need to, if it's the bread and butter, do it. It ain't what it is, how you do it. You're going to have to put something in place to protect the little handful of Kitchen and division. We're leaving that. I know you see where you're coming from, and I support you.
And at the same time, based on the amount of passports that's been sold and the money it generated, we need to see and feel its impact. We need to see it and feel it. We understand, okay, it's been used for this and that, but we need to see it in more tangible ways.
Exactly.
But then we had this person
They need to look at long term.
hack 6 million. This one buy property in Dubai and all kind of nonsense. Come on. Your job is not just to enrich yourself, but for the better economic development of the people.
Some of them gonna riches, but they ain't gonna say. Trust me. That is they need to look at the long term, okay? Because if all of these people gonna come and buy in these parts, well, like you said, they have to come saying to the vote and then
we get
come
wet.
up to vote for election. I don't know. So you have a blessed day and you keep on your point. You're here and I'm supporting you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, because we complain about
Man of good afternoon. Monday was my birthday.
those who live in the U.S. coming home to vote, those who live here voting from other places and this and that. That vote is so important. We can take one last call. Caller, you're live on Voices. We got 2 minutes to go. But the caller, you've got 2 minutes. You're live on Voices.
Yeah, good afternoon, man. Good afternoon, Socrates, man.
How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Real quickly,
Please.
You know, like the discourse before when the voters used to come in from overseas, right?
Mm-hmm.
The locals would sit there and they would say, oh, well, the overseas voters are coming in for 1 and 2 days and making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yet still they were ignoring the fact that the discussion that we have right now,
Mm-hmm.
the people who's buying into this CBI program, they are the real threats. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Most of those persons that was coming from overseas are natural born citizens.
Mm-hmm.
These people are acquiring this citizenship through this investment.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, they can create a threat to the national security of the country.
Correct. But the problem is,
And that's
the general
that's
public
what it
is unaware of this.
Yeah, the people are now starting to see what's going on. You know what I mean? Not bringing the transparency, even these rules and regulations concerning those citizens. What about the natural born citizens who are outside here in the diaspora. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Persons like myself,
Mhm.
I'm in a farming country,
Mhm.
and I have the right here to put my name on a ballot here and run for politics, except for the presidency by
Okay.
way of citizenship.
Mhm.
But back in my own hometown of St. Kitts and Nevis, where my neighbor's string was buried, I can't get that done in my own country. So you have to bring up that Bryant clause and bring this into the discussion, because the natural born citizens need to have the full rights like everybody else. And the full rights, these people who are buying into the CBI, they're looking for those full rights as well. So
Okay.
you're either a citizen or you're not.
Okay.
But my natural birthright can't be violated.
We
bro.
are at
That's
that
fine.
time. We are at that time, and I want to thank you for your contribution.
Thanks a lot, man. Great
Okay.
discussion. Keep up the good works, man.
Thank you so very much for all our viewers, to all our viewers and listeners. It's been a pleasure entertaining you today. We've had callers, we've had people who text the information, etc. Hey, Chris Collins, how are you doing? I want to wish all and sundry a most wonderful rest of a fantastic Friday. Godspeed. We will be blessed by nature. Lots of rain, nothing untowards, etc. For those who would have suffered bereavement throughout the region in terms of death due to Hurricane Beryl. As you would say, we give you the thoughts and prayers, and God's willing, we will have another dialogue on Monday. Bag of sugar, enjoy the rest of it.
Welcome to the Mango Festival. We got sweetness overload. Mango Festival. It's a treat for everyone. Mango Festival. A taste of name is naturally Mango Festival. Mango Fest right here in Greece City. Give me little mango. A summer lime and a nunnago sweet. So give me little mango. Boy, girl, woman and man go. Give me little mango. A summer lime and a nunnago sweet. So give me little mango. Join the action, Mango Festival.
Nevis Mango Festival from July 4th to July 7th. 10th anniversary in Queen City, Nevis.
Mango Festival. Mango Fest right here in Queen City.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds